It's a bit overcast.
Wet.
And wet. And this guy is going to have to learn to settle because he's driving me nuts.
Looking for things to do.
And he's out here. I always threaten that Ross would be put out in the tender off the back. And that's where he is, and I might even disconnect him. Seriously, there's so many jobs to do, but he's feeling like a caged.
I'm sulking.
Why are you sulking?
Because he kicked me out of the boat. Sick of me whinging.
I am indeed.
Well, our visitors left yesterday afternoon and we've come back over to the basin just for the night. This is an absolutely beautiful shot. That net there is actually termed a vessel exclusion net because the waterway behind it, there's no power boats, but I think it's a shark net. Because this area is very renowned for bull sharks, and we've had a bit of a problem with those buggers over the last few months. I think after 8 days on board with me full time, Janet's needing a little bit of alone time, and it's good for her to walk away from me for a little bit. We've been a little bit hit and miss this morning because we're waiting for another weather window. The weather, there's no wind today, so we would have to motor all the way to Port Stephens, which is about probably a 10-hour steam at about 6 or 8 knots. So we're going to wait it out, but in 2 days' time there was a big southerly change with 4 metre southerly swell, so we're going to hold on and hang around this area for about a week. It's just stunning here. You know, I used to teach diving up in these areas up here. We used to do a lot of diving out of Palm Beach and Barrenjoey, so anyone watching home and away in the UK, that area there, that was our old stomping ground when I was a young diving instructor. And Janet and I probably should have settled here. In fact, we lived about 10 k's north of here for 3 or 4 years and commuted back into Sydney every day, which was a huge mistake. Janet's checking out the campgrounds here. This is a registered campground, so you can come down here and basically set up for a weekend or whatever. And there's some great facilities. Beautiful spot. You notice his ears are all torn, and that's likely from feral foxes. Probably feral cats. Massive feral cat and fox problem here. It's this country, one of the worst in the world for cats. Sadly, domestic cats really don't have a place in our society here, as much as we all love them. They just escape and then they become like bloody lions and kill everything. And there's a heap of kangaroos and wallabies hopping around over here. Looking good. You, I mean. Well, good morning. We had a pretty wet night last night. It was an absolute shocker. But we were anchored up at the basin in Pittwater and woke up this morning to this. What a stunner of a day. We're heading up into Pittwater, right up in the back of Pittwater and up into the Hawkesbury River as we're awaiting a weather window. The weather's good, but the winds are wrong, so we don't want to be beating into the wind for the next 3 or 4 days, and then there's a massive southerly swell hitting in the next couple of days as well, so we don't want to be going into the wind with a big swell up our bum as we head further north. But this area is absolutely beautiful. It's the Hawkesbury River just north of Sydney, for those of you that aren't Sydney-siders. And it goes back just up there about 150 k's, so it's quite a long river. It's one of our main feeder rivers into this area here, but you could almost say it was the Whitsundays, apart from the fact that in about 3 weeks' time, when winter sets in, it's going to be cold and wet. Oh, maybe not wet, but cold. So that's why we're heading north, but just beautiful to explore it. I have never been up into this area in a boat. I used to paddle down towards the end of the Pittwater there and run dive courses down there, but I've never actually come up this way, so it's all new to us, which is wonderful. We're moving up to a place called Refuge Cove, which is not far from here, and it's going to give us shelter from the southerly that's due in the next day or so, and we'll get some more work done on the boat. I've been ironing out leaks. My whole last couple of days has been all about leaks. And last night we found another one, didn't we? What happened?
Well, which one?
Oh, the one in the engine room, yeah.
Yeah, which engine room? You had two. You had the one in here, which we figured out was fresh water, thank God, which was the hot water. There was the hot water on this side, and it was the overpressure release valve releasing a lot of water, but at least now we know what it was. Sorry, there's just a lot of it.
Yeah, we're dodging logs. And then on the other side was the vented loop.
Oh, yeah. So it was freaking me out last night.
Apparently Janet didn't get a lot of sleep last night. She was worried about leaks, and I spent half the afternoon yesterday in the tender going around the outside, resealing the outside of our port lights that have been a little bit drippy. There's been two that have been a little bit troublesome. I guess that's what happens when you build a boat and you start to test it. You find all the parts that you really should have addressed earlier on. And I was in the tender for a good couple of hours just resealing, cleaning the Sikaflex off, and woke up this morning happy to report virtually no leaks in the port lights. So there's been a whole, yeah, and they were leaking a lot, so that was pretty good. So it was a job day yesterday. We did a bit of a walk around the park, around the Basin National Park there, and now we're just heading up into some stunning areas up in here. I mean, we've got full sandstone escarpments all the way around here, lots of rock falls, and just an absolutely beautiful area to cruise in. So Janet's been at me to get our lifelines done, and up until now we've just had simple polyester rope as our lifelines, but we've set about putting in Dyneema and thimbles as our lifelines, and then they'll be lashed to the pulpit. So doing splices like this is very, very simple. It just takes a little bit of time, and then you just milk the thing back into it, and you end up with a nice tapered splice. And tapering is very important, so you don't end up with a big bulky, you know, inch round line end. You can taper it here. You can see how it tapers back in, and that actually creates a stronger splice if you had the full length and the full width of the splice down into here. Alright, so I've gone for a really simple splice here with a Brommel splice on the end, or a Brommel lock, I guess you'd call it. All you do is feed these through the stainless loop I've got here. You just feed them through the stainless loop you've got here, and then go back on itself, pull that through. It's a very simple way to make a lifeline. It ends up looking like this, and on the other end we have a thimble. Just feed that through the stainless loop like so, and we'll do this bottom one down here like this, and then feed the remainder of the lifeline through it. And we'll have lashing up on the forward end. It's a little bit hard to lash it back here, so I've chosen to do them up the front. When we're in a calm anchorage we can tighten retention, and that's nice and solid. And then just something to keep an awareness of. We've already had a pretty major chafing incident this week where we've replaced a reefing line where it got caught on a tiny little piece of metal on a pretty poorly made bag track on our mast, on our boom. Not real happy about it, but anyway, what do you do? Okay, once we get it through, then you can fit the thimble. Now the other day I was doing a lifeline and I put the thimble in, and I got all distressed because I thought I'd wasted my time because I couldn't get it back through the stanchions, and Chad said, why don't you just remove it? And that's the nice thing about the Dyneema, it's got just a nice stretch.
Ross was just saying to me, have a feel between the different lifelines. The one that's not lashed.
Yeah, this one's got heaps of flex in it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And then the one down here that is lashed, and look how firm it is in comparison.
And the way it's lashed up in here is I've gone around 5 times, and then if you have a look at the detail, I've done it's almost what you call a herringbone look, where you go in and out and weave it through, and then go back on itself, and then up to here and do the same up here. So it all starts with a little bowline in there, and it's important that, well, it is important to me that all these lines are all even and tight, but I can relash it. It'll have a little bitter end here, that I can just undo this and relash it. And the way that I was tensioning it was with a screwdriver. Every 2 loops I'd tension it and pull this tight, and that's just fantastic now. Like that is been on Janet's mind for some time about how I've had these rope lifelines, and they're probably perfectly okay, but you just don't know. And having this Dyneema has just made, you know, it's such a cheap and easy way of doing cabling without having to swage cables with stainless fittings. The only stainless fitting is the thimble, and you could use a low friction ring here, in fact, and not use a thimble at all, but the thimbles are about 1/10 of the price. So that's a nice way to finish it off. Good thing is you can monitor it. If one frays and breaks, just make another one. It takes you about an hour to make, and yeah, I love the lashing idea. Is great. It's very time consuming. It takes about 10-15 minutes to lash each one, but well worth it in the long run.
Mm-hmm. It's safety.
And safety, yeah. Very, very
So
good.
it's important.
Very, very good. Stoked. So I'll get this one done.
Cool. With that real classy red and white line.
Yeah. Well, we've had the most glorious couple of days. Last night we had a rainstorm came through. It was like we're up in the Great Bear Rainforest in Canada, which we've spent a bit of time up. And this spot here, this Harriet's Beach, has just been an absolute cracker. Dead calm. We've got a bit of a boat wake coming through in the middle of the night. I think it's from the Navy ship.
We haven't had it today, which would suggest it was the Navy ship.
Yeah, we haven't seen the boat, so that's probably why. There's been a few boats go past, a couple of fishing boats coming in and anchoring with us. But it's late in the arvo, and we've got no reception, and I need to call my mum and do a couple of things, so we're going to move on a little bit and head further up into the Hawkesbury River. And I can't believe that all the years that Janet and I lived about 10 kilometres from here, we never came up here. Unbelievable. I mean, just check out this scene. It is just stunning, and the westerly sun going down. There's yachts sailing past there. We're just going to motor up into that valley up in there and find another spot and get a little bit closer to civilization. The highway, the main freeway heading north, Highway 1, is just at the top of that ridge there. So, yeah, we're not far from civilization, but far enough away to feel like we're in another world. What a magic spot. This has been an absolute cracker, hasn't it? So I've nailed our lifelines, our Dyneema lifelines. I've made 6 of them today and finished them, and I haven't quite finished the lashing on the last 2, but I'm going to do a couple of adjustments tomorrow and re-tension them. But for now, we're going to head a little bit further up into the river and see if we can find another spot. We've got about 3 days we need to wait out this weather window, so we may as well be up here away from all the ferry traffic and ship wake. But what a spot, Little Jerusalem Bay. Absolutely beautiful overnight anchorage here. No boat wake. We had Cape Otway, the naval training ship, going up and down the river, and last night didn't affect us because our bum was facing them, whereas the night before we copped wake off her every hour or two when she went past. As she ran up and down the river here doing training exercises, we'd cop about a 2-foot wake, and the boat would rock, and we lost our water container, fell off the step back here, and yeah, a little bit of carnage, but it wasn't too bad as long as we put everything away. But what a beautiful spot this is. I mean, you realise we're actually holding out here. There's a massive east coast low off the coast at the moment, all the way from New Caledonia to New Zealand to Australia, and it's generating some big swells. There's probably 2 to 3 metre swells just off the coast here now, expected to go to 4 to 5 over the next couple of days, and we're in a holding pattern. And quite frankly, if you're going to be in a holding pattern, this could potentially be the place to be. This is just a stunning place up here, up in the upper Hawkesbury River, or the lower Hawkesbury River, down near Barowra and Ku-ring-gai National Park on the northern outskirts of Sydney. It's just a beautiful, beautiful spot. I can only imagine what it'll be like here in summer. There's 3 mooring balls here. I can imagine there'd be about 3 boats on the mooring balls and about 30 other boats anchored around them. So I just can't imagine being here on a busy summer week. Just around the corner here is a spot called Cottage Point, and there's a beautiful little restaurant there, pretty upmarket restaurant. We were going to go there for lunch, but then when we looked at the prices, well, on a daily basis you can catch a seaplane from Sydney Harbour up to Cottage Point for lunch, and that'd be a pretty special sort of anniversary thing or something, but certainly not for day-to-day dining, I'll tell you now. So we're going to head right up towards Bobbin Head, and there's a couple of little spots that we've found up around the corner there, and we might get the stand-up paddleboards out, do a couple of jobs, and then head back down here for tomorrow, which is Friday, and we've been gone nearly 2 weeks. Wow, the time's flying. I feel like I'm in the time tunnel. Do you?
I do, and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. We've had like a 2-week holiday where we've done pretty much nothing.
Well, East Coast lows don't help.
Yeah, it doesn't help.
But look where we're stuck.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's amazing, isn't it? Absolutely
it's
amazing.
not tough. You've got to stop feeling guilty. He's feeling guilty all the time.
Feeling guilty because I'm not getting enough done, but they're having these massive lows off the coast. You know, you sort of realise that cruising isn't about making progress. It's just about sitting around doing 5/3 of nothing.
You've been working on the boat.
Oh, I've been doing lots.
Look at the lifelines you did yesterday.
Oh no, they're pretty cool. Just can't stop looking at my lifelines. They're pretty sexy. These new Dyneema lifelines. I still have to lash these two here. I decided to swap them around a bit, but what a massive job. It's so nice to have solid and properly spliced lifelines. Cottage Point. Bit of an upmarket area this. We lived not far from here, and we never really saw the benefit of buying a place here, but what a spot. Probably about 20 minutes from northern Sydney by car, but some of the properties here are just incredible, and it's all on tank water, I think. I'm not sure whether they got town water here. They might have by now. I know back in the day you could never buy or never have access to town water, so that was one of the big issues. It certainly changed a lot of that. I mean, look at that house over there, Janet, that big wooden one. That thing over there is just next level. And we're heading up towards Bobbin Head Marina, which is up around to the starboard side, up to the right there. And once again, just so many different little anchorages around this area. Just a bit cool in the wind too. There's a big east coast low walloping the coast, and we're about 10 k's inland here. I honestly forgot that every holiday involves a lot of walking. Janice just brought us up to Bobbin Head, and the boat's anchored down in the river just behind me down here, and there's always a walk. You know, I know we've got to do it for fitness and health and, you know, everything else, but there's always a walk, and it always ends up being a slightly bigger walk than I would like, but we tend to get in and do it and love it. But yeah, Janet's on a mission, and we're happy to have a walk because we haven't had a walk for 2 days. And I tell you what, you get a little bit of cabin fever on a boat. That's one of the realities of living on a boat. You've got to start to get exercise. I've got to admit, we're eating a lot less. We're not moving as much, and we're not working as hard, so that's possible yet. But we're here at Bobbin Head Marina, and it's an absolutely beautiful spot. We used to come up here when we lived up here. We didn't live far from here, probably about 15 minutes from here, and we never really discovered it from the water side. But yeah, it's lovely. We just had a walk over to Apple Tree Bay, a couple of k's, and heading back down. We're going to get some lunch. We got rid of our rubbish. It's another thing you think about on a boat. How do you get rid of your rubbish? You're always looking for places that you know, you're not supposed to dump domestic waste, but it's better to be put in the bin and dealt with than you know, on board and stinking the boat out. And also a lot of recycling, a lot of cans and bottles we're able to get rid of as well. So we do separate that, which is good. So just behind me there, where Synergy's sitting, is a courtesy mooring, and it's basically to bring visitors in, but you can stay there for 24 hours, and that's the fantastic thing about this. It's free, and that is just unbelievable. To pull up at the marina, be up for $100 a night. And I've got a bit of a problem. I've got a spinnaker halyard that is 14 millimetres, and all of my clutches can only take a maximum of 12 millimetres. And Janet tried to hoist me up the mast the other day. Got to do a little bit of work on the radar mount and on the lazy jacks. We want to separate them and make them wider so it acts more like a funnel to allow for ease of putting the sails up and down. And my spinnaker halyard, which is our second halyard that she intends to pull me up on, is 14 millimetres, and unfortunately that won't fit through our clutches, and it ended up getting jammed, and I was about 3 foot off the ground at the time, and caused a little bit of panic. We worked it out, we got down, but what I need to do is I've actually got some 12 millimetre line that we purchased the other day. It needs to be stitched to the 14 millimetre spinnaker halyard and then hoisted up through and replaced. So I'm going to replace our spinnaker halyard with a 12 mil line, and then it'll work in our clutches and will give me that backup for heading up the mast in the bosun's chair. Janet can do most of the bosun chair work. It's just that I need to do this one because it requires an angle grinder. grinding off this bloody radar mount that is hitting our sails when we're running downwind with a southwesterly wind and a southerly swell. So we're going to have to butt join these so that they'll pull through the exit block and our blocks on the mast to make sure that we don't lose the halyard up in the mast. That'd be pretty devastating if I did that. Well, it's not pretty, but it'll certainly do the job. I just multiply stitched it through, and just making sure there's nothing to catch as I pull the halyard through, and now it's torrential. Cool, that's ready to go. So we're going to pull a spinnaker halyard through with a new halyard. So you just need to pay that out for me as I pull it through from the front. Yeah. And hopefully when it gets up into the top of the mast, that will run clean and not get caught up. Because if it gets caught up, we need to pull it back. Okay? So that'll be pretty simple, eh?
Do it slowly. Slow, so slow.
Do
you think this would be fine going through?
No. How about you? Janet, can you get that twist out of that?
I am trying.
Janet's head down at the cockpit going, wait, and I can't hear her. I think she's saying, I love you, instead. But here it is. We did it. We pulled the new halyard. Thank Christ for that. Yeah, yep. I've been worried about that all night, pulling that bloody halyard through. It was as simple as just get the stitching right and make sure it's not bulky. It did get a little stuck on the top sheave, but we're through, and all I need to do now is attach it to this shackle, and we've got a brand new halyard and about 50 metres of 14mm line that I can't use because I don't have any 14mm clutches, but I'm sure we'll find a use for it. So we were having a chat with Craig yesterday as we pulled up. He's from Adelaide on Annabella on a Seawind 1250. He's leaving. He's had enough of the wet weather. So check out Annabella. You heading off, mate? Nice. So Craig's off. He's heading north, and we may well meet him a little bit further north. He's got a Seawind 1250. That is a nice boat. It's beautiful inside. Just having a look at it inside, stunning. Craig was just saying you could spend a few months here, and I agree. I mean, we could spend months in this waterway. It's just absolutely beautiful. There's nothing about it that's not beautiful. It's typical Aussie bush right down to the water's edge, and there's little beaches sort of periodically up through the river up here, and there's a little beach in here, so it looks like mangroves up in here, but we might take a stand-up paddleboard, paddle up into there a bit later on and check it out. Loving every minute of it. It's been a very wet morning.